What if I told you that everything you were taught about money was a lie? That the very thing you wake up for, hustle for, sacrifice for, isn't real in the way you think it is. It's not just paper, it's not just digits on a screen. It's a story, a belief system, a magic trick so powerful it enslaves billions while they cheer for it. And the scariest part? Most people never even question it. But you did. That's why you're here. And once you see what money really is, there's no unseeing it. This is not just a documentary. It's a mirror, a deconstruction of one of humanity's greatest illusions. This is the truth about money. Chapter 1. The Silent Religion. Let's start with the truth society's too afraid to admit. Money is humanity's most successful religion. No priests, no temples, no holy books. Yet it controls our behavior more than any god ever has. People kill for it, work themselves to death for it, marry for it, abandon dreams for it, and in the end, die chasing more of it. But here's the twist. Money doesn't actually exist, at least not in the physical sense we imagine. It's not gold. It's not paper. It's not even the numbers in your bank account. It's trust, a collective agreement, a shared dream that only works because everyone else believes in it too. Strip away that belief, and it's just ink on cotton. Just binary code in a server. Money has no value until we give it one. Let that sink in. This thing we spend our lives chasing is a story we're all telling each other. And most of us never question who wrote that story, or why. Chapter 2, The Original Spell, A Brief History. To understand how this illusion began, we have to go back. Long before banks, before governments, even before coins, there was only one currency, trust. Barter systems dominated early civilizations. You had fish, I had firewood. We traded, simple. But then problems arose. What if I don't need fish today? Or I only have a tent to give, which would be a bad trade considering the unequal value exchange. Society needed a medium, something everyone agreed had value. So humans did what they do best. They invented a symbol. Shells, stones, beads. Eventually metals like gold and silver became the go-to. Why? Because they were rare, durable, and hard to fake. Not because they were valuable in themselves. Gold didn't feed people. It didn't build shelter. But it represented something deeper, belief. The idea that this shiny object could be exchanged for anything else. That belief became tradition. Tradition became culture. Culture became control. And from there, the illusion grew. Chapter 3. The Empire of Paper. Fast forward to the 1600s. The rise of banks introduced a new twist to the magic trick. Paper money. Instead of carrying gold, people began carrying banknotes, IOUs that represented gold stored in a vault. These notes were more convenient, safer, and easier to transport. But remember, they only worked because people believed they were backed by something real. Then the trick got deeper. Governments realized, why limit ourselves to how much gold we have? What if we printed the paper without the gold? And just like that, the world shifted. Money was no longer tied to anything tangible. It became fiat currency, money by decree. This means your money is worth something only because the government says so, and because everyone else plays along. But here's the danger. If money can be created out of thin air, what stops it from becoming worthless? History shows us exactly what happens. Hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, Venezuela's economic collapse, Germany's Weimar Republic, where people used wheelbarrows of cash to buy bread. When belief fades, money dies. And yet, here we are, still trusting the story, still running on the treadmill. Chapter 4. The Hidden Puppeteers. But let's go deeper. Who creates this money? Who decides how much is in circulation? Who benefits when money's created? And who pays the price? The answer is chillingly simple. It's not governments. It's not presidents. It's central banks, entities that operate in the shadows, with almost no public accountability. Take the U.S. Federal Reserve. Despite its name, it's not federal. It's not even fully part of the government. It's a private institution with the power to create money out of thin air. And when the Fed prints money, what does it do? It doesn't hand it to the people. It lends it to banks, to corporations, to governments, with interest, which means every new dollar is born in debt. Let that sink in. The moment money is created, someone owes someone else. And the system is designed so that debt can never fully be paid back. Because to pay off old debt, we need to create new money, which creates new debt. It's a spiral, a loop, a game where the rules are rigged and the house always wins. And you're just a player, trying to win a game where the scoreboard is controlled by someone else. Chapter 5. Inflation, the Invisible Thief. Now here's the part they really don't want you to understand. Inflation is not just prices going up. Inflation is the value of your money being stolen, slowly, silently. When central banks print more money, the supply increases. But if the amount of goods and services stays the same, the value of each dollar drops. That's inflation. It's why your grandparents bought a house for $20,000. Why a cup of coffee used to be 25 cents. Why your paycheck buys less and less every year. They'll tell you it's just how the economy works. But it's not an accident. It's a feature, not a bug of the system. Because inflation helps the people at the top. Debtors love inflation, especially governments. Why? Because they can repay old debt with cheaper dollars. But you get crushed. Your savings lose value. Your wages lag behind. Your cost of living climbs while your quality of life shrinks. And all the while, they tell you it's your fault. You're not budgeting right. You're not working hard enough. You're not hustling smart enough. But the truth is, the game is designed to make you feel like you're failing, even when you're doing everything right. Chapter 6, The Matrix of Consumption. And here's where the trap tightens. We live in a society where your worth is measured by your output, where productivity is worshipped, and consumption is king. Why? Because the more you work, the more you earn. The more you earn, the more you spend. The more you spend, the more they profit. But it's a treadmill, a loop of endless striving. Work to spend to cope, cope to keep working. And behind it all is money, not as a tool for freedom, but as a leash. You were taught to chase it, but to control you? But what if that's the trap? To obey it. To tie your dreams, your identity, your security to it. What if money was never meant to free you? Chapter 7, The Psychology of Obedience. Most people don't question money, not because they're stupid, but because they're scared. Scared of what it would mean to see the truth. Because once you realize money is an illusion, you start to see that so much of your life is built on sand. Your job, your debt, your definition of success. It's all part of the same dream. And waking up from that dream, it's painful, it's lonely, it's disorienting. But it's also the beginning of freedom. Because once you stop believing the story, you can start writing your own. So the next time you look at a $100 bill, don't just see paper. See a spell, a contract, a control mechanism wrapped in green ink and ancient symbols. In part 2, we'll go even deeper. We'll dissect how this illusion was engineered. We'll look at who really benefits. And most importantly, how you can begin to escape it. Because now that your eyes are opening, you'll never look at money the same way again. Last time, we exposed the illusion. That money isn't real. It's belief, a story, a system of control dressed up as opportunity. We saw how central banks create money out of nothing, how inflation silently steals your time, and how the game is rigged to keep you chasing without ever catching. But now we go deeper, because understanding the lie is only the first step. The next is far more dangerous, exposing who's behind it and what they don't want you to know. Chapter 8, The Architects of Control. Who benefits from this illusion? Not you, not the average worker, not even most politicians. The real beneficiaries are the ones behind the curtain, the financial elite who understand the rules because they wrote them. I'm not talking about conspiracy. I'm talking about infrastructure, central banks, investment giants, global institutions that operate beyond the reach of democracy. Take BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Combined, they manage over $20 trillion. They hold majority stakes in the companies that feed you, medicate you, transport you, and entertain you. They don't just play the game. They are the game. And they thrive in chaos. Recessions, pandemics, wars, they profit from every shockwave. Because while the masses panic, they buy. They consolidate, they tighten their grip. The illusion isn't just about money. It's about power. And the deeper you look, the more you see. Money isn't the goal. It's the weapon. Chapter 9, Debt, the Digital Chains. Debt is the perfect tool of control. Unlike physical slavery, debt slavery looks like freedom. You chose to go to college. You chose to buy that home. You chose to swipe that card. But in reality, you were trained to make those choices. Conditioned from childhood to equate success with spending. Taught to borrow without understanding interest. And once you're in debt, you're easier to manage. You can't strike if you have bills. You can't rebel if you fear losing your house. You can't escape if every paycheck is already spoken for. Debt makes the system look like it's offering opportunity, when really it's tightening the leash. And the interest you pay, that's not just money. It's your time, your energy, your life is slowly drained, all to keep the machine running. Chapter 10, the education system designed for obedience. Ask yourself, why don't they teach money in school? Why spend 12 years memorizing dates, equations, and grammar rules, but never once learn how a mortgage works? How to invest? How the Federal Reserve prints debt? The answer is simple. They don't want a financially literate population. They want obedient workers, people who follow orders, take loans, and feed the machine. The school system wasn't designed to create free thinkers. It was built during the industrial age to produce factory workers, soldiers, and clerks. The bell rings. You move in lines. You raise your hand for permission. You're rewarded for memorization, not questioning. And when you leave, you're handed a diploma and shackled with debt. It's not education. It's indoctrination. Chapter 11, the scarcity myth. Here's the next layer of the illusion. Scarcity. We're told there's not enough. Not enough money. Not enough time. Not enough to go around. This belief fuels competition. It turns neighbors into rivals and keeps you fighting for scraps. But here's the truth. Scarcity is manufactured. The earth has enough food, water, and energy to sustain billions comfortably. Digital systems that could democratize wealth. But the system needs you to feel poor. It needs you afraid of running out, because fear makes you controllable. So instead of abundance, they sell you lack and debt. Instead of time freedom, they give you overtime. Instead of liberation, they sell you just enough comfort to keep quiet. And the irony? The people who hoard the most create nothing. They just control the flow. Chapter 12, the digital cage. Now let's talk about the future. Because the illusion isn't fading, it's evolving. Cash is dying. Digital currencies are rising, and with them comes a new level of surveillance. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are being rolled out. They sound futuristic, efficient, secure. But here's the catch. They're programmable, which means your money can be controlled remotely. Turned off, restricted, conditioned. Buy too much red meat, access denied. Donate to the wrong cause, frozen. Speak against the system, erased. This isn't science fiction. It's already happening. In China, the social credit system blends finance with obedience. In Canada, protesters had their bank accounts frozen. In Europe, CBDC pilots are expanding rapidly. This is the new frontier of control. Not just what you spend, but how, when, and why you spend. And most people, they're sleepwalking into it. Because digital convenience is the perfect bait for financial slavery. Chapter 13, the game of Monopoly. Let's zoom out. What happens when you play Monopoly and one player ends up owning everything? The game ends. It stops being fun. Everyone else gives up. That's where we are now. A tiny percentage of people own almost everything. The middle class is shrinking. The poor are drowning. And the rich? They're buying islands, rockets, and bunkers. This isn't capitalism. It's feudalism with better branding. And unless the rules change, the end game is clear. Total consolidation. One system, one currency, one set of rulers, and you, a digital serf, renting your future, begging for breadcrumbs, trapped in a system that smiles while it robs you. Chapter 14, cracks in the illusion. But here's the hope. The illusion is cracking. People are waking up, questioning the system, learning the rules. Cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, peer-to-peer trade, these aren't just trends. They're symptoms of rebellion. They represent the human desire to reclaim sovereignty, to rewrite the rules, to escape the cage. But be careful. The system adapts. It co-ops. It will try to turn every rebellion into a new product. Bitcoin becomes a Wall Street asset. NFTs become a fashion brand. Freedom becomes a feature, sold back to you for a price. If your revolution fits neatly into their system, it's not a revolution. It's a rebrand. So where does this leave us? We've seen the spell. We've named the magicians. We've watched the game evolve from gold to paper to code. But in the final part of this series, we go beyond awareness. We'll explore how to escape the illusion, not just with strategies, but with a new philosophy of money. Because once you stop playing their game, you can start designing your own. By now you've seen it all. You've seen how money is fake, how it's conjured, distributed, and weaponized. You've seen how debt keeps people in chains, how the education system was never designed to free you, and how scarcity is a myth. But now comes the most important question of all. How do you escape? How do you break out of a system you were born into? How do you unplug from a game that defines your every move? This isn't just about money anymore. It's about freedom. Chapter 15, the prison in your mind. First, you need to understand this. The greatest prison is invisible. It lives in your beliefs. Most people don't chase money for what it is. They chase what they think it means: security, status, validation, worth. But here's the hard truth. If you believe you're only as valuable as your income, then the system doesn't need chains. You'll enslave yourself. So before you escape externally, you must escape internally. You must question the narratives you inherited. That success means a job title. That being rich means owning lots of stuff. That the never-ending hustle is the only way to live. These are lies, useful to the system, harmful to the soul. The real game starts when you realize you are not your paycheck. You are not your possessions. You are not a product. You are a creator, taught to be a consumer. A builder, taught to be a borrower. It's time to remember who you are. Chapter 16, the game you can win. Let's be practical. How do you actually build freedom? How do you take back power in a rigged game? It starts by flipping the roles. Instead of working for money, make money work for you. Here's how the wealthy really play the game. First, they buy assets, not liabilities. Assets generate income. Liabilities drain it. Most people buy a new car. The wealthy buy a vending machine. One goes down in value. The other pays you monthly. Second, they leverage debt. They don't drown in it. Poor people borrow to consume. The rich borrow to invest. Same tool, different outcomes. Third, they value time over money. Most trade hours for dollars. The rich trade dollars to buy back hours. They hire help, automate processes, and build systems that work while they sleep. And lastly, they understand that the tax code is a game. The system rewards investors and business owners, and punishes employees. They use corporations, tax shelters, depreciation, and legal loopholes to keep more of what they earn. But more important than tactics is perspective. The rich don't think like the rest. They understand money is just one form of capital. They invest in knowledge, which compounds forever. Networks, which open unseen doors. Reputation, which prints opportunity. You don't need millions to start. You just need the mindset to stop playing defense. Chapter 17, the law of value exchange. Here's one truth the world never tells you. Money is not the root of wealth. Value is, and across every culture, every civilization, every spiritual text, and every law of nature, the same principle repeats. What you give determines what you get. The Bible says, "Give, and it will be given to you." A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. Luke 6:38. The ancient Hermeticists called it the law of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Newton gave it to us in science. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In Eastern philosophy, it's called karma. Your actions echo across time and space, shaping your reality. Different words, same law. At its core, the law of value exchange. Give energy, get energy. Give service, receive compensation. Give solutions, attract attention, trust, and wealth. You see, most people chase money. But money is just the shadow of value, a receipt, the proof of value exchanged. It follows, it reflects, it echoes. And here's the secret most never learn. If you want more money, stop chasing the shadow. Start creating the substance. Create value. Improve something. Solve problems. Reduce pain. Save time. Make people feel something they couldn't before. That's where wealth begins. Not in a bank, not in a vault, not in some speculative market, but in you and what you give to the world. Chapter 18, communicating value, the invisible skill. But here's the twist. You can have the best idea in the world, the most transformative product, the most helpful service. But if no one knows, if no one understands the value, if no one feels what it can do for them, it dies in the dark. Value must be seen, to be exchanged. This is why some people make millions selling fluff, while others struggle with brilliant ideas that never spread, because they've mastered communication, presentation, framing, storytelling, positioning, understanding what others want, and translating your value into that language. Think of the con artist, the scammer. They have no real value, but they look like they do. They sound like they do. They've mastered the language of value, without the substance. Now flip the coin. The humble genius, the overqualified expert, the quiet innovator. Tons of value, but no reach, no influence, no leverage. Real wealth comes from the fusion of both, creating value and knowing how to communicate it. This is what society never teaches. They'll teach you how to obey, how to fit in, how to memorize formulas, but not how to build value, not how to market value, not how to leverage value. And yet that's the core of wealth. It's why your favorite artist makes millions, not because their music is objectively better, but because they tapped into emotion, timing, aesthetic, culture. They made their value resonate. Chapter 19, Beyond Money, the Many Forms of Wealth. Here's something else they don't teach in school. Money is just one way to store value, but there are many others. Skills, which stores value in your ability to solve problems. Relationships, which involves storing value in trust and collaboration. Reputation stores value in perception and influence. Attention stores value in visibility and reach. Health, which stores value in time, energy, capacity. Creativity, which stores value in potential to shape worlds. And perspective, which stores value in the quality of your decisions. Wealth is multidimensional. It's not just digits in a bank. It's leverage, options, alignment. So now let's flip the question. Instead of how do I make more money, ask, what value can I create? How can I communicate it better? Where else can I store the value I build? This is how you escape the rat race. Not by chasing more, but by becoming more. You start to notice opportunities in everyday pain. You start to see business ideas in everyday problems. You start to realize that wherever there's a gap between what people want and what they have, there's value to be created, and if you can create it and communicate it, you'll never be broke again. Chapter 20. The exit isn't a destination, it's a decision. Most people think escape means a number. If I just had $1 million, if I could just retire early, if I could just win the lottery. But this kind of thinking is still rooted in scarcity, in waiting, in helplessness. The truth? Escape is a choice, and it begins now. It begins the moment you stop participating in the illusion. When you stop competing in status games, when you stop consuming mindlessly, when you stop equating income with identity, real wealth begins with autonomy. The ability to say no, to walk away, to create your own rules. That might mean starting a side hustle, learning a digital skill, investing $100 instead of spending it on dopamine. It might mean moving to a lower-cost country, downsizing your lifestyle, or living more simply but more freely. There is no one path, only this truth. The less you need, the freer you become. Chapter 21, the power of opting out. You don't have to burn the system to beat it. You can just stop feeding it. Turn off mindless content. Cancel the useless subscriptions. Ditch the fast fashion and dopamine delivery. Stop trading your peace for pixels. Opting out doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means becoming sovereign, independent in thought, responsible in action, free in spirit. It means being conscious of what you buy and why you buy it. It means working not just for money, but for mission. It means creating value instead of just consuming it. This is rebellion, not in protest. But in practice, the system doesn't fear marches. It fears minds that no longer need it. Chapter 22, Redefining Wealth. We've been taught to measure wealth in dollars, in cars, in watches, in square footage. But what if wealth was never about accumulation? What if true wealth is about conversion? The ability to convert your time into impact, your ideas into value, your value into freedom. You see, wealth isn't what's in your account. It's what you can do regardless of what's in your account. It's your adaptability, your creativity, your capacity to solve and to serve. Because now you know, wealth doesn't just come from money, it stems from value. And money follows value. So if you want more wealth, stop asking, how do I get more money? Start asking, where is value missing in the world around me? What problem can I solve that people actually care about? How do I show them the value in a way that connects? That's the formula. Value created, value communicated, value stored, do that, and money shows up as a byproduct. So when we say redefine wealth, we're not just talking about owning assets. We're talking about owning abilities. The ability to think for yourself in a world that trains you to conform. The ability to spot needs before others do and meet them. The ability to create products, ideas, services that elevate others. The ability to articulate your worth without needing validation. Because what you truly own, no one can take. Not inflation, not a market crash, not an algorithm update, not a broken economy. That is wealth. The poor mindset hoards. The wealthy mindset flows. The poor mindset chases the shadow, money. The wealthy mindset masters the source, value. Because real wealth isn't about how much you have. It's about how well you understand how value moves. And once you master that, you're no longer playing the game. You become the architect of it. Chapter 23. The revolution will be internal. We keep looking outward for revolutions. But the biggest shift is inward. It's not about overthrowing the banks. It's about uninstalling their software from your mind. Unlearning consumerism. Unlearning wage slavery. Unlearning the belief that you are your bank account. Because once enough people wake up, the illusion collapses. They can't control a population that refuses to be hypnotized. They can't manipulate minds that know the magic trick. They can't enslave those who no longer chase their carrots. This is how revolutions start. Not with riots, but with realization, and you just had one. The hidden truth. You were never meant to be a cog, a consumer, a number on a balance sheet. You were born to create, to think, to build, to question, to be free. Money was supposed to be a tool, not your master. It was supposed to serve you, not the other way around. But the illusion is strong, the spell is ancient, and the architects of this system are clever. Yet here you are, eyes open, questioning everything. That's not just awareness. That's danger to them, because a single awakened mind is more disruptive than a million distracted ones. And now the question is yours. What will you do with this awareness? Will you go back to sleep or build something new? Because the truth is, the system isn't your prison. It's your canvas. And you're not a pawn. You're a player, and the game is just beginning. If this opened your eyes, if you felt something crack inside you, you're not alone. There are millions more waking up quietly, curiously, courageously. This is your space, your tribe, your mirror. So if you're ready to go deeper, to explore the hidden truths behind power, society, and self, hit that subscribe button. Not because we want numbers, but because together, we're rewriting the story. This was part 3 of our series on money, the greatest illusion humanity ever believed. But this is just the beginning. Next, we go even deeper. Because money was never the root. It was just the symptom. Power's the disease. And truth is the cure.